All right, let's dive into the fascinating history and evolution of football, both here in America and all around the world. Now, this story begins in the mid-19th century England, where the game we now know as soccer started to take shape. Two teams, a ball, and the simple objective of scoring more goals than your opponent. It's such a simple concept, yet it has captivated the world ever since. The rules were formalized in 1863 when the Football Association was founded in England. This marked the birth of the sport we know today. But let's hop across the pond to America. Here, the game evolved quite differently. American football, as we know it today, has its roots in the versions of rugby and soccer, played in the universities of the 19th century. The key turning point came in 1880, when Walter Camp, known as the father of American football, introduced key changes to the rules. He introduced the line of scrimmage, downs, and the snap from center to quarterback. This gave birth to a new, distinctly American version of football. The game continued to evolve throughout the 20th century, with the establishment of the National Football League in 1920, which remains the premier professional football league in America. Meanwhile, football, or soccer as it's known in the U.S., spread like wildfire across the globe, becoming the most popular sport worldwide. The establishment of the Fédération Internationale de Football Association, or FIFA, in 1904, and the start of the World Cup in 1930 only helped to solidify its global status. So there you have it, a quick trip through time charting the birth and evolution of football. From the humble fields of 19th century England to the billion-dollar stadiums of today, football in its various forms has certainly come a long way. Now, isn't that something? All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of football. Whether we're talking about the global game or American football, each one has its own set of rules and intricacies that make the game so intriguing. Let's start with football, or soccer, as it's known in the U.S. The game is played between two teams of 11 players each, with a spherical ball. The objective: get that ball into the opponent's goal using any part of the body except the arms and hands. Sounds simple, right? But with the various rules, positions, and strategies at play, it becomes a complex, beautiful symphony of skill and teamwork. There are forwards, also known as strikers, whose main job is to score goals. Midfielders control the flow of the game, while defenders and the goalkeeper protect the goal. The offside rule, free kicks, corners, penalty kicks, all these elements add layers of depth to the game. Now, American football is a different animal altogether. Remember our friend Walter Camp? His rule changes gave us a game with 11 players on each team, where the goal is to advance the ball into the opponent's end zone for a touchdown. Sounds straightforward, but wait till we get into downs, yards, and the different player positions. In American football, you have offensive players like quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers, all working together to advance the ball. Then there are the defensive players, like linebackers and cornerbacks, aiming to halt the offense's progress. And of course, there are special teams for those high-stakes moments, like kickoffs and field goals. Whether it's a 4-4-2 formation in soccer, or a Hail Mary pass in American football, the strategies employed by teams can be as varied as the coaches who devise them. It's this blend of physical prowess, tactical nous, and split-second decision-making that makes football, in all its forms, such a captivating spectacle. So, Whether you're an aspiring player or a fan wanting to understand the game better, I hope this gives you a clearer picture of the rules and intricacies of football. But remember, the best way to learn is to watch and play. So what are you waiting for? Now, we talked about the history and the rules of football, but what about the love of the game? Why is it so popular? Well, let's dig into that. Football, whether it's the American version or the global game, has a universal appeal. You'll find kids playing in the back streets of Brazil or in a park in small town America. It's a game that breaks down barriers and brings people together. The FIFA World Cup, held every 4 years, is a prime example of football's global appeal. It's a month-long festival of football that brings nations together like nothing else. But fans from all over the world converge to support their teams and share in the love of the game. The 2018 World Cup in Russia was watched by an estimated 3.572 billion people. Now that's what I call a global phenomenon. On the other side, we have the Super Bowl, the annual championship game of the NFL. This event is more than just a football game. It's a cultural spectacle, complete with a star-studded halftime show and commercials that are as eagerly anticipated as the game itself. The Super Bowl consistently ranks as the most watched television broadcast in the US. And it's gaining popularity around the world too. But the impact of football isn't just confined to these marquee events. From the English Premier League to college football in the US, football permeates our everyday lives. It impacts fashion, music, and even the language we use. Ever heard of a Hail Mary or a hat trick? You can thank football for that. And at the heart of it all are the fans. They create an incredible atmosphere at games with their songs, chants, and banners. They celebrate victories and agonize over defeats. They form communities that span across cities, countries, and even continents. These fan communities are the lifeblood of the sport. So when we talk about football as a global phenomenon, it's not just about the players on the pitch or the coaches on the sidelines. It's about the fans, the culture, and the shared experiences that make football more than just a game. It truly is a global phenomenon. All right, let's delve deeper into the cultural significance of football and how it intersects with vital societal aspects such as race, gender, and national identity. Football, in all its forms, has wide-reaching cultural influences. It's a mirror to our societies, reflecting and sometimes intensifying the issues of our times. Talking about race, football has often been a platform for challenging racial prejudices. We see players of all ethnicities excelling on the field, but it hasn't always been easy. From the racial barriers broken by players like Kenny Washington in American football to the constant fight against racism in stadiums around the world, football's relationship with race is a complex, ongoing journey. Gender, too, has its own narrative within football. The rise of women's football, for instance, has been both a cause and a result of shifting attitudes towards gender equality. While progress has been made with events like the Women's World Cup gaining more recognition, there's still a long way to go in terms of equal pay and opportunities. And then there's national identity, something that becomes especially prominent during international competitions. Football has a unique way of uniting people under a common banner. Think about the pride and joy we feel when our national team wins, or the collective heartbreak when they lose. These feelings go beyond the game. They're about shared identity and belonging. But it's not all rosy. Football can also magnify divisions. Rivalries between clubs or nations can sometimes spill over into violence and hostility. So, you see, football is more than just a game. It's a microcosm of our societies, a stage where the dramas of race, gender, and national identity play out. It's a powerful force that can both reflect and shape our cultural landscape. And that, folks, is the real beauty of the beautiful game. Now, let's talk dollars and cents, or pounds and pence, depending on where you're watching from. The economic aspects of football are as intriguing as the on-field action. At the heart of it all are the football clubs. These organizations operate like businesses with income streams that include ticket sales, merchandising, and broadcasting rights. Clubs like Manchester United, Barcelona, and the Dallas Cowboys are now worth billions. The financial structures of these clubs can be complex. Many are owned by wealthy individuals or consortiums, while others, like Barcelona and Real Madrid, are owned by their members or socios. There's also a growing trend of American investors buying European clubs, bringing with them a different approach to running a football club. And then you have player transfers, a major part of the global football economy. Every time a player is bought or sold, it's not just about adding quality to the team. It's a significant financial transaction that can have a huge impact on a club's finances. Just think about the record-breaking 222 million euro transfer of Neymar from Barcelona to Paris Saint-Germain in 2017. Commercial interests also play a big role in the football economy. Sponsorship deals and partnerships with big brands bring in a lot of revenue. Just look at the logos on your favorite team's jersey. They're not just there for decoration, folks. Broadcasting rights are another crucial component. The money that TV networks pay to broadcast games, especially for competitions like the English Premier League or the NFL, is a significant income source for clubs and leagues. But it's not all about money-making. Financial fair play rules, introduced by UEFA in European football, aim to ensure clubs don't spend beyond their means. And in the NFL, a salary cap helps maintain competitive balance. So you see, the economics of football is a fascinating world of its own. It's a game of members off the pitch, just as much as it is on the pitch. And understanding this side of football gives us a fuller picture of the sport we love.